Yo, yo, yo. How's everybody doing?
What up?
This is the third episode, the official episode of the Michael Anthony Lending Podcast. We're so excited to introduce two of our very favorite guests here, one returning guest, as everyone knows. But yeah, let's send it over to Michael to kick it off.
Cool. Alex, thank you very much. Michael Anthony, the Anthony Lending Team. So super excited to have two of my favorites here in the room. So we've got Carrie Cala with Harry Norman Realtors. Carrie's first time here, so welcome,
Yes.
Carrie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Applause. And Allan Minter. So Allan's been on, I think one time maybe. God, it seems like it's been more than that. But anyway, Allan Minter, Dorsey, Alston. We've been working together for like 15 years. It's been a long, long time. So just a mentor to me, one of my favorites, and Carrie, up and coming, just a rock star. So I just super excited that you guys are both here. So thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, you got it. And Allan is the reason why I know you, Carrie, right?
Yes.
So Allan's the connector, the introducer. He knows everybody in the business. So
He does.
Tell me, how did you guys meet again? Just refresh that story. Let's hear it again.
Do you want to tell it?
I will. So I used to sell kitchen appliances for a company that I nannied for their family, and I sold kitchen appliances and would sit and try and figure out how do I meet people to sell appliances to. So I thought, okay, real estate agents work with a lot of people that have houses and may need new appliances. So I cold called a lot of people, and Allan Minter was on that list. He's probably one of the only people that actually gave me the time of day, and we went to lunch, and he never bought any appliances, but then a while later I was like, I think I want to buy a house. I'm going to call that Allan Minter guy. He was really nice.
See, karma,
yes.
right? Allan's the nice guy.
Yes.
He probably respected the fact that you're cold calling, you're hustling, right? And
I was trying.
He gave you the opportunity. That's awesome.
And then he helped me buy my first house and sell it and buy my condo. And he's a big reason why I'm in real estate today.
Very cool. Very nice.
So inspiration, if you will.
So how long ago was that? When did you guys meet? How many years ago?
2015?
What?
I think it was like spring of 2015 because you bought your first home winter of that year.
Yeah, and
right?
I was there. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I sold
so
in 2018.
I feel like it was like early 2015.
Yep.
And I just remember the name of the restaurant that we went to lunch. It was called Cibo y Bebe.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking,
How do you remember
what
that?
was the name of that restaurant? I don't know. It just came
certain
to me.
things you just remember.
It was off Roswell Road, like really close to where Food 101 was.
Yep.
Because Food 101 used to be like my go-to lunch spot. For
We
like
met there.
Did we?
Yeah, and that's gone, right? It's closed.
Gone. It's not there anymore. It's like some like pork barbecue place now.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
But I think Cibo y Bebe is still there,
Oh, I think it is.
which is kind of
I feel
random
like
because like there's never a lot of people in there. Maybe it's like a front. But it's good. Good food. Good restaurant.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So real estate wise, how'd you get in the real estate business?
So I used to work for WeWork and did commercial leasing and management for some buildings here in Atlanta. Pandemic hits, everyone gets laid off, and I had a little bit of time to think about, well, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? I don't want to keep jumping around. I wanted to do something that I was going to enjoy and love. And honestly, thought about my experience with Allan on our transactions and thought, well, maybe I can give other people that experience and that just ability to, have such smooth and fun transactions. So I was like, well, I'm going to study for my real estate license. It was like 3 days after I got laid off, and I started studying for it and got it and jumped right in the midst of a global pandemic, not knowing what the fuck I was doing.
The best time to jump in, right?
I was like, well, we're going to do it.
Baptism by fire.
Like, I'm just going to dive in head first. And interviewed with a couple of different brokerages, ended up at Harry Norman, and still there now. And it's been an absolutely incredible 2.5 years.
That's awesome. And obviously you were still at Harry Norman at the time, right?
No.
You had left. Okay.
No, I went over to Dorsey Alston in September of 2016.
Oh gosh. Maybe
Maybe it was August, actually.
Holy cow. Okay.
I was with Harry Norman for real quick 1 minute version of this. I was with Jenny Pruden Associates.
Right.
that was where I started my career.
That dates
the
your
same office.
career.
It was out in Roswell Road. It was the original Ginny Pruitt office that was started in 1980.
I remember.
So I was 2 at that time. But joined Ginny Pruitt Associates, and a lot went down in like 2008. Ginny Pruitt ended up starting Sotheby's, Atlanta Fine Homes.
Yep.
And so like we were still Ginny Pruitt Associates while she started Sotheby's. So like we were still like promoting her name. It was a very strange time. It's kind of like a civil war going on. She was trying to poach and recruit everybody, and a lot of people like were upset, so they wanted to stay. Anyway, Warren Buffett ended up buying out Ginny Pruitt Associates, and he already owned Harry Norman Realtors. So it was kind of like the big fish ate the small fish.
Yep.
And
that's what happened.
I was in that same office until 2016, and then I went over to Dorsey.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And but Carrie, right off the bat, even when she was selling appliances, I was like, okay, this girl's got a pretty good future with like whatever she's going to do. Right. So.
Thanks.
Of course. Well, I mean that. I mean, you know,
driven, good with people.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so
awesome.
I knew that she was destined for better things than that. And then she was crushing it at WeWork. I remember that because we kind of like reconnected.
Yep.
That was in 2018-ish, 17-ish.
Yep.
And you know, I remember like you took me on the tour at WeWork, and I remember she was like, I felt like she was like destined for that kind of an industry.
Yeah.
And I was really happy for her. And then of course, like everything started happening with WeWork.
Right.
And then, when she first mentioned to me that she was contemplating real estate, honestly, a lot of people say this. A lot of former clients, I'm like, okay, that's great. You know, get your license. Like, I'm here for you. I mean, deep down, I'm like, you're always a little like upset. Oh man, there goes my referral source or whatever.
Right.
Or yeah, like good luck. I mean, you can, sometimes you're like, they're not going to make it.
Right.
But when Carrie mentioned that, I was like, oh, that's perfect for her.
You used to always ask me, you're like, are you ever interested in getting into real estate?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's too risky for me. I'm not a very big risk taker.
Well, risk adverse, conservative. Yeah.
You turned into a risk taker.
A little bit.
You kind of had to be a risk taker to do what you did, and it's worked out.
It has.
She was Rookie of the Year last year for Harry Norman Realtors.
I've got it written down. I remember the Rookie of the Year post. That's awesome.
That's a big deal.
It was huge. I mean, Harry Norman Rookie of the Year. That's unbelievable.
I was very excited. Yeah, very proud.
That's super cool.
Thank you.
And then WeWork. I mean, obviously, you still have. I mean, that's where some of your client base has been coming from, because obviously they know you, trust you, like you, right?
Yeah. I do have a lot of, a ton of friends still from WeWork, but I mean, getting to know so many different people in different industries and different companies, and they have people moving here. It's a great resource for referrals.
Yeah. So starting off, like a lot of people, in COVID, you like started the business in COVID, but really in a way, timing wise, great time to start.
Oh yeah.
If you think about just looking back at it, right?
Right.
I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but what a great time to start in the business.
Yeah. Well, definitely for like, there was just so many people in the market and interest rates, and obviously, so had a killer 2 years. This will be my first like market shift. So it's like learning everything again, but, just like people that had been in the business kind of figuring out what was happening during the pandemic. So, I'm excited for, another learning experience and to, continue kicking ass.
That's right. Keep it going. You will. Well, it's funny because the last time Allan was on this show, we were maybe early summer, late spring, early summer. And this was like market was at the top. And we said, man, we feel it just a little bit shifting, just a little bit, but it was still like crazy.
Crazy.
I mean, insane. And now here we are, right? November, totally different. Like it did a 180. Right. So, I mean, just such a different market right now. So, what are you seeing out there? I mean, as far as just, buyers, sellers, I mean, just give me a sort of a taste of what you guys are seeing.
My biggest thing is right now for sellers just having to understand, you cannot get what you were going to get for your home 6 months ago or 8 months ago. You have to prepare it. You have to market it properly. You can't just list anything, you can't do lipstick on a pig. People can see right through that, and buyers know that, and agents know that. And so getting sellers to, setting the expectations up front and really making sure they understand, this is why we need to prep the home.
Right.
They're like, it's interesting to convince people to paint.
Right. Yeah. Because in the summer, let's be honest. They were flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
They would sell before they were listed.
Yeah.
With 30 offers. We saw some crazy things. We did deals together that were like, wow. Is this going to close? And they closed. But so now people, and I think sellers got greedy, right? To some extent, right? What's the saying? I don't know, but pigs get, what is it? Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered or something like that. It's such a, we did see some sellers get put it off because they wanted more and more and more. And then all of a sudden, seemed like, for me at least, like August 1st, right when schools went back, for me, that's sort of when I noticed, boom, right away, market shifted, things just slowed down. Just right away. Just that week, it seemed like things slowed down. So
it was very drastic. Very drastic.
What happened
Labor Day.
For you, Labor Day? Yeah.
As you said, the last time we had this podcast, like I remember Richie and I were talking, like we could feel the market kind of turning. Like I remember seeing a home in Morningside that was like priced well. It was like 1.25 sweet spot for that neighborhood. Yep. And it was on the market for like 12 days. And we were like, whoa, we were like, I know. We were like,
hell?
We were like, what's going on? This is strange, And like, there were no offers on it. I was like, what's happening right now? Right. And even at that time, of course, it was just like, this is weird. Now but so that was like June or July.
Yep.
So it was like late summer. And then now for me, I feel like the real true kind of like contrast shift was Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
It's like we went to Cashiers. It's like an annual trip for us. And we come back and it's just like,
remember,
it's like, what happened? Where is everybody?
Yeah. Was that when you were boating? Was that? Yeah. I saw the pictures on the lake. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So I feel like that was like the real kind of turning point. Cause I think that was the weekend where the Fed truly raised rates.
The first bumps. Yeah.
The first big bump.
Right.
And then, so, it's been like it's a shock to the system.
Yep.
You take you have a buyer who locks into a 30-year fix for 2.75%, and then 4 months later it's 7%. It's just the market doesn't know how to react to that, respond, and here we are.
Absolutely.
And so everyone's just kind of like, what happened?
Yep.
And here we are.
I've been in the business since 90.
Here we are.
Yeah, and here we are. 96, I got in the business, and so I've been through like 5 of these cycles, 4 or 5, and I've never seen like. From rates to go from 3 to 7 is normally like a 4 or 5 year process.
Right.
Easily. And it happened in 6 months.
Right.
Just super fast.
Right.
We, something nobody's ever seen before.
Right.
So I think people getting adjusted to it,
yes.
the new rates, the new market, the new climate. I remember in 98, bought my first house. So Alston and I bought our first house in 1998 and rates were coming down from the 9s. And I remember we built a home in East Cobb and we're like, gosh, if we can get into the 8s, like we're going to hit jackpot. If we can get in the 8s, right? Or the 7s, I think at that point, 7, 8, 7, 5, we saw the rates hit, we locked it and we were like, this is great. This is amazing. And now it's like 7%. People are like, what? Like what the hell's going on? 7%. Yeah. So it's just readjustment, right? And I think the key is how fast it moved. I think that's just what shocked the system.
It's perspective, definitely. But at the same time, when my dad was selling real estate in the 80s and rates were like 20% at that time. It was like early 80s. And, but one of the challenges, we have a lot of challenges right now, of course, but like
sure.
You top on inflation and that doesn't really help much at all. People are getting hammered at the grocery store and then the gas station. So Absolutely. Rates going up on top of inflation, it's not a great combination, but, I'm sure Carrie will agree with me. Like the past 2.5 during like the whole COVID boom, it's been exhausting, like we were all like running like 1 million miles an hour and like, just
crazy.
go. And so like
crazy.
Me personally, I was like, I need a break.
Yep.
If I'm being honest. And it's like, you go through this like mental burnout and almost physical burnout too. And I was just kind of like ready for a break. Yep. And it's almost, it's also like, be careful what you wish for.
It's here.
Yeah,
here we are.
Here's the break.
Here's the break. Yeah.
I've taken full advantage of it. Yeah. Being able to travel and do things.
Yeah.
And
you just got
like,
from what,
I was like,
Sicily?
this is nice. Italy. But
Carrie's
Rome
like
and
a
the
jet
Amalfi
setter.
Coast.
Well, and that was your second trip this year, right? So your first was.
I've taken a couple trips.
Let's
this year.
let's hear about the travels of Carrie.
Where have
Let's
I
hear.
been? Okay, so Cartagena and Medellin.
Nice.
Those were amazing. Did a little girls trip down there.
Cool.
Then I did Rome, the Amalfi Coast.
Oh wow.
Solo. First solo trip
Really?
ever, and I highly recommend it. Everyone needs to do it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just yourself.
10
That's
days,
awesome.
yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was solo. Cool.
To that specific location or just a solo trip? Like, what are you recommending?
Solo trip. Definitely
so-
the location, but
Yeah.
it's
Both.
very touristy.
That's
both,
That's cool.
Everyone needs to go to the Amalfi Coast. Take the ferry. Don't take the train from city to city. Take the ferry.
Really? Okay.
You get to see everything from the coast. It's beautiful. But a solo trip, everyone should do one once a year.
Nice.
Doesn't have to be, abroad, but
That might be tough. Alston, I'm leaving and I'll see you in 10
yeah.
days.
well, and I'll do
Just kidding.
I do want to do. I like to travel abroad, so I'll do a couple of those.
What's easier when you're single to
Yeah.
do a solo trip? Yeah.
Well, I mean, Allan goes on trips all the time.
He does.
How do you do it, man?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Tell us how it's
Yeah,
done.
give us a secret.
Well, first of all the time might be a stretch.
Once a year.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
once a year. No, I mean, I go.
Once a year.
I take one solo trip a year, and of course, it's almost always mountain climbing.
We're so very close to the top, Mr. Puffy Jacket Man.
to really cool places.
Yeah, it's been cool.
Where was
And
your last place?
It was Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Yeah, that's right. So I went
Yeah.
to Bolivia after our podcast, or was it
I
before?
think you were getting ready for it.
Maybe. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I was getting ready for it. That's
Yep.
right.
So you're not really like going solo on purpose. Anna just doesn't want to do all
She
that
has
climbing.
She has zero interest
like,
in
"Honey,
climbing.
have fun."
Yeah, she has no
Strategic.
no interest in climbing a mountain.
I can see Stella getting into it though.
Stella. It's give or take. It just depends
Yeah.
on the day. She's
Really into skateboarding right now.
She is. She's really
She's
into
a
skateboarding.
badass.
She's a badass. She's shredding.
I saw some video. I mean,
Yeah.
incredible.
She's going up quarter pipes. I mean, like she's doing good.
yeah.
Wow, that was quick.
She's a
she
fast,
was like just learning.
She's a fast learner. A lot of that I attribute to my friend Matt Atreyu. He's her skateboard coach.
Okay. I think I saw on Instagram.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He just moved here from San Diego. And,
This is a good time for that plug.
well, nah, we'll talk about that later. He's a great coach. He's a skateboarding pro, and he's really good with kids. He's been teaching for like 27 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm really proud of her. But with the travel, and it's good. I think it's therapeutic. Everybody needs something. You need something. It doesn't have to be travel, but for me, that's what it is. And it's climbing, it's climbing. So I love that. And it's really understanding because, she travels a lot for work.
Right.
So she kind of she gets it. It's almost like she gives me a pass, like go travel, go do your thing. And so she'll let me take a trip. So the next one will be in Argentina, but I mean, it's like a 14-day trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's going to be wintertime next year, 2023.
Oh wow, that's cool.
But we're going to Iceland next year as a family, So it's like you can find these compromises.
Yeah, do
like,
both.
She'll do Iceland,
Yeah.
She's all about like glam hiking.
Sure.
Glamping.
Glamping.
Take her glamping.
She's okay with hiking if we come back to like a 5-star resort.
That's how my wife is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glamping can be 5 stars.
Yeah,
Have you
true.
seen some of the pods?
Some of those
They're
tents are
incredible.
spectacular. Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm excited about Iceland. Stella's like really stoked about going to that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that'll be June of next year.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, man.
So we've got we're gonna be celebrating Alston and I 25th. So we're 25 years next year, which is crazy.
It's amazing.
25 years. It's like, where did 24 of those years go? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we're doing a Mediterranean cruise. So we're leaving from Rome, then we're doing, Italy, the Greek islands.
Love Greece.
So it's going to be,
I've never been to
be
Greece.
cool. So
It's on my list.
It's like 12, 13 days and right in the middle of July. So I'm like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
25 years, you only get married once and,
Right.
hopefully.
Yeah.
And for 25 years, that's crazy. So we're doing it.
Good for you, man.
We're like, who knows? We're like, who's going to watch the kids, the house? We're like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. You guys are amazing.
It'll be cool. So,
You guys are an inspiration.
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You guys are the dream team.
A lot of people say that, and it's like, when you find that one person and it works, and she's awesome. So yeah,
I love seeing the pictures of you guys when you were like kids. I mean, you look like kids.
And I know what picture you're talking about. So Alston posted it was either an anniversary or my birthday or something. It was in Baker Hall in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
We met at Ohio State University. I don't know if I told you the story how we met. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you real quick how we met. So she was a sophomore, I was a freshman. and we lived in the same dorm. And I had my eye on her. I saw her, and I was,
co-ed
keeping
dorms.
tabs.
We didn't have those.
They were co-ed. So now one hall was like ladies, and then the men were on another hall. So, but they were connected.
Yeah.
Right.
We weren't far away, right? I was on the 4th floor. I think she was on the 2nd. So I'd seen her a few times. And then, so my buddy and I, we came in from outside, and we, hit the elevator, and then door opened, and Alston was there with her friend Kim, and they had each had a case of beer or a 12-pack of beer in their hands. We're like, where are you going? We're gonna follow you. So it was just a good.
You need some help? You need some help with this?
That's right. Good conversation starter. So I figured out where she lived, and then I also noticed that Sandra, I went to high school with her. She was like 2 doors down. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I think I can get introduced somehow. Mm-hmm. So Sandra introduced us.
You had an in.
And had an in, and then she was she didn't say yes right away to going out, but after I just chipped away and finally worked. So off and on all the way during college, off and on. But that's the story of how we met. So beer and an elevator leads to good things.
Yeah.
So, but the rest is history. So
if only men were more chivalrous these days.
I know, right? Like, what do they do? It's all like online and apps, and I'm like, I can't even imagine that. Like, crazy.
This whole world right now, such a dystopian.
Oh, I know.
Nightmare.
See my kids online, just on the phone. It's like, God, it's just different. So different,
Technology, I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Total love-hate.
I sound like a grumpy old man sometimes.
I wouldn't, if everything just crashed one day, I'd be like, oh.
I know, be better off.
Yeah,
let's all figure out how to live without it.
Communicate, live,
right?
At least, if we could just take it would be nice to have a day off, 2 days, a week, something
get
like
back
that.
to the basics. Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, so. Alan, do most of Stella's friends have cell phones? Are they all kind of plugged in on?
No. That's good. She's in 3rd grade.
I feel like kids are just so much smarter than they used to be now.
Oh my gosh,
they're so advanced. Yeah, they're scary.
It's a weird. We're in the middle of this shift with everything. I think and technology included. And I was talking. We had a campfire with the guys, last week, and we were just kind of talking about things like that. And my friend Prince was, because I was like, I'm worried about Stella maybe having ADD, just like every parent's worried about their kids right now.
Yeah.
We all have it.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean,
some element of it.
The one good thing about her is, and Anna's actually reminded me of this, she can do art for 2 hours by herself, uninterrupted. Really? So that's a good sign, obviously. But my friend Prince was because they have iPads, cell phones, YouTube. They have 3 screens sometimes going up at the same time. It's just and it's almost impossible not to have ADD, but Prince was he's you got to shift your way of thinking. It's ADD is a good thing. He's these kids need it these days. They need to be able to multitask. And I'm oh my God, this is weird. It's a weird
yeah,
conversation.
it's a way to think about it, right?
Well, he's almost like a genius too.
Wow.
He's in very high demand with these big companies marketing. Huh. So the way his brain works is differently.
Wow.
But I've never thought of it that way. That was the first perspective I've ever heard. Embrace the ADD. These kids need it these days. It's wow.
That's a good point. I will say this, I think, so my kids are 19 and 17 and
trouble.
I know, right? I'm oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. But I think 6th grade, 7th grade, it was somewhere in there where they was my wife's well, in case of emergency, they might want to have a phone. I'm okay. So I think it was 6th grade when we sort of gave in, but I would just say put it off as long as possible because once they have it,
oh my gosh,
connected. Yeah. It just, it is connected.
I don't have kids, but I've nannied kids or dated people with kids, and I'm this is weird.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah. And it's just the way of the
12. What are you posting?
It's just the way of the world. It's just what it is, right? And I worry about the screen time and all this stuff, but I don't know. What do you do?
It's just all about balance.
Yep.
The weird part is when someone's kid sends you a friend request on Instagram.
I'm starting to see him now.
It's an 11-year-old sending you.
Wait a minute. Are you supposed to be there? Hold on a second. Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's a little crazy. So I don't know. We'll see. It's just you take one day at a time. That's all you got to do.
That's it.
Right.
Whole new world.
Exactly. So, but my younger son's getting into golf now. So I think.
Oh, nice. Me too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to hit the link sometime. Okay. And so I'm thinking that maybe, the phone away. He used to play baseball for years. Mm-hmm. My older son still plays ball. And so that's the time where there's no phones. They're focused on whatever it is, whatever sport, baseball. And so Ryan stopped playing baseball, so now he's picked up golf. So that's great.
Michael's good at golf.
I'm okay.
You should play with him sometime.
My brother
we'll
is really good. So he's been giving me some tips.
Great
and when
game.
he does, I hit the ball great. But when I'm like, let me try and do this, and I'm like, oh gosh.
Just practice. I mean, like anything else in life is just practice, practice, practice. We went to this, I got Ryan some lessons at Golf Tech, which is like that simulation. They have pros, but it's indoors, it's simulation. They break down the swing. They compare your swing to like Rory or Tiger, and you're seeing the swing, his swing next to their swing. It's so cool. And if you can grasp it, right, like just the angles where his arm is versus theirs, it's pretty intense.
That's
but
cool.
I mean, really shortens the learning curve. So, but it's good. We went out and played around, and Alston so we're playing, and she gets a hole in one. She gets a hole in one. Like I've been playing I worked at country clubs since I was 12 years old. I played hundreds and hundreds of rounds.
That's cool.
And she goes out this summer and knocks in a hole in one. And it's like, holy cow. I mean, just amazing. So
That's awesome.
I couldn't talk about golf without talking about Alston's hole in one.
Yeah.
That's pretty
really
cool.
You had to mention that.
So we got to get out there, and we'll try to drag Allan back out. We've played a bunch of
I'm
times.
not good.
And
Don't worry. I mostly sit, I ride. I'll
fun.
play drop from somewhere else, where someone else
Right.
hits.
That's
and
normal.
then hit a couple times, and then I'm like, all right,
Good.
That's good. Next hole.
Yeah, next goal. Yep.
It's relaxing for me. I don't get angry.
Yeah, that's good.
Some people are like,
Just relax, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's not worth it.
you've played with the grumps or the people that just freak out. It's like, hey, listen,
Like,
it's just a
chill
game.
out.
No, that takes all the
Just
fun out
a
of it.
game
Right.
here, right?
I went with some friends once, and we had a case of beer, and it was a pull cart. So,
Yeah.
but just with friends drinking.
Pool card. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Where'd you play?
That
Cannon
was
Park?
at
Cannon Park.
That was
That's
the
old
first
school.
time I went
Oh,
and
yeah.
played.
Yeah. the
Great.
pool
It was
carts.
fun.
Yeah. It's a cool little course. Stella School is like right across the street from
No,
there.
really?
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Mhm. Yeah, Mary Lynn.
Now, if you're really now, you're not lazy if you're walking, right? But
Right.
now they have these pool carts that follow you. Like it's an
Yeah.
electronic
Right.
device. You put it on your
weird.
your belt, and the thing literally follows you.
Give me a break.
It's like a robot.
It's a robot. Exactly. Like,
That's too much.
like, what are they going to think of next? Like, oh my
know.
God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to get out there. So,
Yeah.
so what's so let's talk about what are you doing? Like thinking about like this last couple months. I know you're taking a break. You just like the last 2 years have been insane, crazy, busy. I think we all have been. But like looking at next year, or what are you thinking about the forecast for next year, real estate wise? I mean, what are your thoughts? Anything you can sort of pinpoint?
You want to take it?
I mean, I definitely think that it's usually the end of the year around the holidays always gets a little bit slower anyways.
Yep.
So I think it'll be nice to kind of give both buyers, sellers, and agents a little bit of a break start really.
And lenders.
And lenders.
No, I'm kidding.
worry.
We don't want a break. Lenders don't want breaks.
But so, I mean, people need to just be realistic and understand what the market's doing, and not freak out about the interest rates. And sellers need to be more realistic about what
Right.
they're listing at and their expectations. So I think it's good to have kind of all right, let's have a
Reset.
A good reset.
Yeah.
But no one likes not being busy.
Correct.
But what a lot of people don't see is like, yeah, we show houses and write contracts, but there's a lot of other shit that we do that helps us keep our business.
Oh, of course.
You might have a little help on that part.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get there one day. Don't worry.
Oh, are you kidding me?
You're on your way. Well, let me see. Go ahead.
First thing I said to Carrie was, I'm gonna be working for you someday.
You did.
You could be on Carrie's team one day.
Right. Exactly. That might be a possibility.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, I have help. Like, it's mostly just when I leave town.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like if I have two clients that want to see property at the same time, like I don't ever want to the market's been so crazy. Like, so we're conditioned, you don't want them to miss out on a property.
Correct.
Because you can't show them a property.
Right.
So
You have great
I always
people that
make
help
sure
you.
that I have people that can
Yeah.
jump on it. And
Yep.
they've been wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know.
And that's how we met, I think. I mean, I think you were maybe filling in for Allan or something, or I don't know. I've met a bunch of agents.
I think I talked to you when I bought my second place.
Okay.
To get a different opinion from a lender. The only reason I didn't use you is because you've been using my bank for 25 years.
Oh,
so.
listen, I get it. I'm with you. Sometimes
but I
that
was
happens.
like, damn, I wish you could match these rates. But they could
that
pull some
relationship.
strings
I get it.
and then, I just started sending you clients after that. And you help a lot of my clients.
Yep.
And you always do a fantastic job.
Oh, well, thank
it's always
you.
the best transactions.
Michael always gets great feedback.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I've walked out of closings where my clients are like, I love Michael. He's the best, you know? And then sometimes I'm like, what about me? Do you love me?
Well, of course, they love you.
No, I don't know. Not always. But no, but 2023 is going to be, and Carrie, good point. I mean, for us, it's really just a matter of setting realistic expectations and having those conversations with our clients. And, the market is shifting, so we need to shift our conversations. And, I'm just a big believer in I don't ever want to try and sell somebody something.
Yeah.
Right.
Same.
I mean, ever, and that's the thing. There's a lot of weird things happening in our industry right now. I see on social media, and I think I'm guilty of even saying it one time too. I said, date the rate, marry the house.
Yeah.
That's not. I don't feel right saying that anymore because nobody.
Because everybody's saying it.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. Well, yeah, of course everyone's saying it too, but. The theory is obviously you can refinance when rates go down, which most people are predicting rates are going to go down, but we just don't know. Sure. We don't know. So it doesn't feel ethical even having that, pitch.
Yep.
It's just the best thing that we can do is I just feel I'm here for you. If you want to move, let's make a move.
Right.
I mean.
You've always been like
I
that.
learned that from you.
Yeah.
That's my motto too.
There you go. But the thing
you've
is
always been like that.
But,
You're not high pressure. Both of you guys are just.
Well, people always
mellow.
are like, oh, you're in sales. I'm like, I don't really consider myself to be in sales. I'm not selling. I'm not trying to convince you to buy a house. I'm here to support the process. Yes.
Educate.
Sales is a four-letter word at this point.
Right. Exactly.
But then there's also, and I've seen the comparison where when the market, summer of 2022, here's an example of the list price. Here's an example of the sales price where it's $100,000 over. And then you compare it side by side, which is where you can probably negotiate, $25,000, $30,000 off the list price now.
Get closing costs.
Yeah, but it's just that doesn't feel really ethical either. And apparently the math is wrong too. So there's this meme going around nationwide where the math is not even right.
I think I saw that.
And I'm just this just
doing the math. I'm like,
it just feels it feels shady, sharing that information. So, my philosophy is the same. It hasn't changed. It's just when people are ready to move, they'll make a move. And the thing is yeah, rates are a little higher now, but yes, generally speaking, you can probably negotiate a better deal. I mean, Tyler we just negotiated $19,000 worth of concessions.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, we couldn't do that 4 or 5 months ago.
No.
Yeah. So she's stoked, and she's getting that property for how much under appraised value? I mean,
I think she's going to walk into $25,000 of instant equity.
Wow.
Right.
Appraisal came in great.
I mean, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so generally speaking, it's not a horrible time to buy either.
Yeah, no.
Right.
But it's not a great time to rent.
Yeah.
But I mean, rents are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just it's kind of the lesser of two evils, depending on how you look at it. But again, everyone's got their own threshold. So I'm here for you. If you want to make a move, let's make a move.
Yeah.
You got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Right? It's either you rent, you buy, or you live with your parents.
Yeah. I feel
save a little money.
The minute I see myself or hear myself trying to sell somebody something, I feel like I've lost.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't want to go there again.
Right.
So
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary Vaynerchuk says sales is just bad marketing.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it's as a real estate agent, you're kind of marketing yourself between your relationships and just the general local, business. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool that you said that.
I like to say we're in the business of education.
Yeah.
Right.
And
advisory, consultants.
Right. Advise, consult.
Yeah.
Right. As a lender, we're not just push a button and get a loan, right? Mm-hmm. There is so much more than that, at least in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think for us, right now, I do think for buyers, if you want to just look at the other side of the coin, right? It was so darn hard for buyers in the beginning of this year, in the spring and the summer. It was, not going to say impossible because we did deals, but it was so difficult.
Right.
People are banging their heads against the wall because
10 plus offers,
10 offers, 20 offers, 30 offers.
And it wasn't even ethically right too, because a lot of them were competing against corporations, which
iBuyers, corporations.
Mind-boggling. And I've had buyers literally break down and cry.
Right.
Because they were just so over it,
Exactly.
And I'm yeah, I get it.
So now we're, if you're taking buyers out, maybe there's another offer, maybe 2, some none, right? So
it's all about pricing it right and having the home.
Right.
If it's a desirable location, the home's in good condition, priced correctly.
right.
So I just bought a house. And it was multiple offers in 24 hours, and I was not expecting that. But the agent priced it probably a little bit low. But he knew, like, I've got to get people in here, and
Right.
it
worked.
Yeah.
How many offers do you know?
Ended up being 4,
Okay.
and then I had an escalation clause, so
And 6 months ago, that
I'm
could have been
getting this house.
You're like, I'm getting it. But 6 months ago, it could have been 30 offers.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Right.
and they could
Easily.
have priced it significantly
Yeah.
higher 6 months ago, but
Right.
it's a cute little brick bungalow in Kirkwood.
Awesome.
I'm so excited.
Congratulations.
So cool.
Yeah. Nice little backyard.
And you bought the home for Dolly, right? We got to mention
Literally.
Dolly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dolly, Boston Terrier. She turns 3 this month, actually.
All right. Cool.
She's a handful. But yeah, she needed a backyard, so I got it for her, along with thousands and thousands of leaves. I have 2 of the biggest oak trees in the city on my property.
Gosh.
Oh, cool.
The arborist nearly shit his pants looking. He was like,
That's
"Oh my
cool.
gosh, these are the most beautiful trees." And I was like, "Okay, but are they healthy?"
You're gonna come clean up the
I
leaves?
just need to know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I actually spent 4 hours with a friend this weekend raking
Wow.
and bagging leaves. We bagged 15 bags, and it literally looked like we
gosh.
did nothing. And I was like, I'm getting a yard man.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that's money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. You work hard. You don't need to be cleaning
Right.
the leaves, right?
No, I thought it'd be fun, a little bonding experience.
Dolly,
Oh my
jump
gosh.
through the leaf piles, right?
That excitement and that buzz wears off quickly.
Very quickly.
I bought my first single family home in Smyrna. It was a 4-sided brick ranch, 1956. And I bought it for my dogs. I had 2 black labs at the time, but I was doing dog rescue.
Right.
So this house had the most killer screen porch and, fenced in backyard ever. So I was like, okay, perfect. This is for my dogs. And, it was cool, but, I don't know. Oh, yeah. I was really excited about mowing the lawn, buying a lawnmower, taking off the shirt, drinking a beer in the summertime, And that buzz faded pretty quickly.
Yep.
I think that lasted. I broke the lawnmower. Yeah, it didn't work.
So one and done? Once,
One and
get
done.
rid of it?
No, I think I went 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, 3 rounds isn't bad.
Yeah.
I knew why wasn't. It's insane how many leaves there are.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy
I've
right
been
now.
trying to find someone, but it's impossible to
it's tough to
it's
find.
very hard to find
Yeah.
a yard man
Right.
that will show up.
It's crazy right now.
And then when it rains and they're like, we're backed up and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And I'm like, I just need these leaves off my.
You should be able to find. There should be at least a service that's maintaining most properties in the neighborhood.
Well, they're just also backed up. So I was just worried. So it's got a basement, an unfinished basement. So I'm like, okay, there is literally there's 1.5 feet of leaves in some portions of the yard. It's
Wow.
insane. Well, it's all collecting around the house. So I'm like, drainage. I can't get water in my basement,
Right.
And some water got in the basement because the drainage were clogged.
Well, if you ever need a 911 situation, my guy Luciano, he's awesome.
I was going to say, you
Yeah,
going to come?
he'll go over there. No.
I got an extra
Call Allan.
I got a thing.
busy every day.
Busy.
That's fun. Isn't it funny though? We buy houses for our dogs. Our last car, we're looking at SUVs. We're like, I don't think the 2 dogs are going to fit in that.
Right.
It's sloped down too much in the
Right.
back. Literally, we bought our last car for our dogs.
Of course.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, they're family.
What we do for our dogs.
Yeah, they're family.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I've got 2 golden doodles. One, Bentley, who's chocolate, probably about 65, 70 pounds. And then Lexi's a little smaller, probably about 50 pounds. But,
Puppy, right? Isn't
well, no,
one new?
Lexi's 6, I believe, 5 or 6. And then Bentley just turned 2.
Okay. 2. I can't keep track of yours.
Are there any
Crazy.
indoor dog parks in Atlanta that you guys know of?
Not indoor.
Because I was thinking, with all the rain, we always have this weird thing where it's raining, we want to go do something with the dog because we're just sitting around the house and we feel bad for the dog. We're like, why is there not an indoor?
I actually thought about that for a business.
idea. It's a good idea.
That would be a really good business.
Well, as long as
When it's
you've got
raining.
some really good, because
Your whole staff would
Fetch
just
Dog
need to
Park
clean the whole
outside,
time.
Yeah.
Fetch is doing
Fetch
really well.
is amazing.
Right?
Love that place.
Yeah.
Dolly goes.
It's like a membership.
Like
You can drink, beers.
But if it were indoors, you'd need some
Right.
really good quality turf and drainage and cleaning.
Right.
And
Right. That would be number one. It'd have to
Yeah.
be super clean. Every attendant there would have to be cleaning
yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And probably do really well when it's raining.
Yeah.
But when it's beautiful out, not so good.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe you can be like in and out, so you could utilize it both ways.
Both. Yeah.
You know?
Not a bad idea.
But I was thinking like membership wise, and
Yeah.
we've thought about it multiple times. I'm like, this could do it.
That's
good.
cool.
Dolly just goes to doggy daycare. Yeah. And it's
Every day?
it's just a big, a
couple times
probably twice a week.
Okay, cool.
But it's just a big concrete shed.
Yeah.
It's probably nicer than a
Dolly's
shed.
needs
but-
socialization,
Oh my gosh,
right?
she loves it.
yeah,
She goes crazy.
that's cool.
Yeah,
And
but it
you're-
is indoor. They have indoors, and then they can open the garage doors, and they can go outside. But the only way they can really keep it clean is because it's concrete, so they can just mop
spray it
everything
up,
up. Yeah.
Right.
So there is something out there like that.
Yeah, well, I was thinking because we take Eleanor, my 5-year-old, to like the trampoline places where she can
yeah.
run. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
man, this thing would be rad for Winnie would love this.
Right.
Bring my dog.
Bring the dog
It's a really good idea.
Yeah. No,
until it takes a shit in the slide, and you're like,
they're like, oh, who's cleaning that up?
Yeah, right.
Where's the
way at the
dog?
top.
Where's the ditty bags?
Carrie, such a realist.
That's so
Gotta keep
fun.
it real.
Yeah, gotta keep it real.
That's right. That's awesome.
That would be an intense drainage system.
Yes, for sure. So does Dolly sleep in the bed?
No, Dolly
No.
sleeps in a kennel.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's very plush. Don't
oh,
worry. It's like,
velvet cushions and
Oh,
stuff.
I'm not worried about Dolly.
Only
That dog's living the life.
Only sometimes, if I'm like, oh, I'd like to snuggle with her tonight. But she just is like, she loves the kennel. She
like her
doesn't.
place.
She does not have like separation anxiety. Like she's awesome. And when I leave, if I'm gone for a while, I'll just put her in the kennel.
Right.
She doesn't have accidents in the house or anything, but it just makes me feel better. I'm like, I know where she is. She's not getting into anything.
Got it.
And then, so I'm like at night, I'm like, all right, you get to go to bed and so do I.
That's right. Some feel like that's their place. That's their home.
Yeah.
They feel secure, like in that space. So that's cool. My 70-pound dog in the bed.
In the bed.
But we're sleeping this way. Bentley's got to go perpendicular. Like, no, not just turn around, go the other way.
Oh,
it's like,
Dolly's 14 pounds and like she will spread out. And I'm like, how are you taking up so much space?
Like,
Like
wait a
you're a
minute.
very small dog. She like makes her way down to the bottom of the bed. And then in the morning, she's literally like laying with her head on the pillow next to me. And I'm like, this is really
cute.
cute, but go get in your bed.
but time for you. Yeah. I don't know. Bentley just, for some reason, just picked it up and I don't know. He's pushing Alston off the side.
Are your dogs hypoallergenic? Do they shed?
Well,
We got a golden doodle too, and they were supposed to not shed. And
They do shed.
yeah,
Just not as much as like a,
they're
Yeah, you
supposed to.
think.
We
Oh,
bought
really?
the golden doodles for that reason, right? So
Right.
my wife has allergies, and so we're like, oh, hypoallergenics, great. Nope, Lexi has more golden in her, so her hair is all over. Bentley does not shed at all, so he is 100%, but he's more poodle than so. Lexi's she was bred with 2 golden doodles, and then Bentley was. My wife will correct me on this, but poodle and golden doodle. So more poodle in him.
Right.
He doesn't shed at all.
nice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Lexi is all over the place. So
And that's the golden one, or golden haired.
right.
Yeah.
Looks like a golden retriever.
Right.
The little,
That's how ours
little
is.
curls. Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
exact
And
one.
Bentley's looks more like a poodle. Doesn't shed at all. So yeah. That's what you got to deal with.
Well, we're at like 45 minutes. I mean, I have unlimited time, so I could care less. But we did get some questions on the Instagram. Do you want to just jump into some of those? Or?
Yeah, let's do
on
it.
the Instagram.
Yeah, I'm like so old. I'm like the
On the
The-
interweb.
Are you posting on the Instagram?
the Kroger.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. Cool. So just FYI, both of our guests here, Allan Minter, his Instagram is at Minter Atlanta, and Carrie is at Closing with Carrie. So if you guys want to follow along, and also if you asked any questions for them specifically, you guys can follow them on there. But one of our questions came in from Chris Steinberg at Chris Steinberg _ As a new home buyer, should I wait for prices to go down in 2023, or should I start looking to buy now? We've kind of touched on that already, but Allan, you want to take this one?
I'm going with my default answer, and honestly, it's just whenever you're really good and ready to get in the market to buy a home, that's when you should. That's the time to buy. You know, it's like you don't. And I've been saying this from the beginning. Like you don't the real estate market is not the stock market. You don't try and time the market.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a cheesy quote, but I actually do believe in this one. Warren Buffett said, "Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait."
Yep.
I mean, I do kind of like that, and I do agree with that because I'm a veteran in the industry, and like I've seen like real estate only appreciates in time.
That's right.
So with respect to, is his name Chris?
Chris Steinberg.
With respect to Chris's question, and again, it's just whenever you're really ready. I mean, some people are just like, there's always like a straw that breaks the camel's back with like a landlord. They're like, okay, that's it. I can't do it anymore. And like, then they're ready to buy a home. Or, you know, some people like their lease is up in February of 2023 and like, maybe that's the time to buy a home.
Right.
But like, you don't try and like time the market.
You can't.
It's impossible.
Never will.
And I agree with you 100%. You can't time a stock market.
Right.
You can't time a real estate market either. It's way harder. And I think that like even in the stock market, they say if you're out of the market for like the best 10 days out of like 5 years, your return is going to be like 15% less or whatever it is. So again, I think to Chris also, what you said, Allan, is, you know, are you prepared? Is, you know, can you afford it, right? Do you have the down payment? Can we make this work? Run the numbers, compare it to what you're spending on rent.
You're such a lender.
I mean,
Well, so many people don't know. They have no idea what, you know, what cash they need. They have no idea what they can actually afford, what they're comfortable, you know, spending a month. So I'm always like, if you're even thinking about it, let's get you to chat with a lender and so you can really understand the numbers. And then I'm like, even if you don't buy for 2 years, like I'll go show you houses and just see, like, get used to what does that even look like to look at houses? Like, what does it look like? Photos are 9 times out of 10 don't, you know, look like the property. So just getting used to the process itself and getting comfortable with that. Is always what I encourage, but I'm always like, just chat with a lender. Like there's no harm in it. You're not going to lose anything.
Right. You've referred people over. We've had great conversations. Some we end up doing loans for and some wait a year, some whatever. But I think you're right. It's, you know, don't worry about what rates are because you're not, when you write a check out, I don't know who writes checks anymore, but when you're making your mortgage payment, so do I. You're not writing your check for 7%. You're writing your check for a monthly payment. So let's look at it, right? Let's look at what does the monthly payment look like? How much cash do you need to get into a home? And the nice thing about a mortgage, if you have a fixed rate, your payment's not going to change unless the taxes or insurance change. So it's, again, get educated. Don't just look at a rate and say, oh, maybe I'll wait, maybe I won't. Just, you need education. So I think that's super important.
And don't look at the big box websites that are like, click here to get your, like, you know, what, and they're like, oh, you can get 4%. I'm like, no, it's not real.
Like the online amortization. Yeah, stay away from that.
It sounds too good to be true. It usually is. We have calculators we can text you
Talk
that are
to a
accurate.
real person. Talk to Michael Anthony.
Talk to Michael Anthony. I always say, you know, like a 10 to 15 minute conversation can like really go a long way.
Right.
And
I'm not saying I'm like you. I don't push people into buying because it's a big decision. It's a big commitment. My job is to give information, right? Give education, give information, and then they can make the decision.
You just chatted with one of my clients about that. They're unsure of, do we want to buy? Do we want to rent? Like talk through the numbers.
Phil.
Yeah.
And
good everyone feels comfortable with you too. Like they feel that there's no pressure from you. Right. So, you know, it's the right thing to do. Yep. And then once in a blue moon too, like someone, you know, I mean, we always kind of make the assumption, okay, I'm sure they have great credit. I'm sure they have great income. They're going to have no problem qualifying. But once in a blue moon, you know, someone will have great income and they think that they have great credit, but there's like one thing that was on their credit report that they don't know about. And that happens more times than it happens more times than what people would think.
One of my clients.
Yeah. And then there's one like Michael's like, okay, pay this off or send a letter and boom, like your score jumps up 50 points or
Yep. A lot of times they don't know, or collections. Customers aren't notified when there's a collection that's placed. So that's a big thing. So we always say, check out the credit, get a copy of your credit report at least once a year, just to know what's on there.
Yeah. I think online there's a lot of like general knowledge on how to qualify for a loan, but you really need like personalized knowledge.
Very specific. It's different for every person.
You can call Michael Anthony. You don't have to call him, but
he's the best.
You could.
And will.
The best.
Thank you. Wow, you guys are so nice.
All right, cool. Thank you at Chris Steinberg for that question. Our next question comes from a previous attendee on the podcast, Andrew Ward. Where do you see the market heading over the next year, and do you think we will see a crash? Like, I guess like a major crash, or do you think it's just going to take a slow adjustment?
Carrie, I think this before though. He's been through the market shifts before. It's a different market.
The honest answer is I don't know. I mean, I've been saying...
You don't have a crystal ball?
That's right.
Exactly. I don't have a crystal ball. Anyone who tells you that they know exactly what's going to happen, like, run away.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because nobody knows. But the general theory is, and I think the general professional opinion is from most economists, most lenders, is that the market is not going to crash. And it's weird. It's like, how do you define a crash? You know, it's like we are in a recession right now. There's no question about it. But like during most recessions throughout history, housing has actually still gone up. There's only two exceptions. I think there was a 2008 crash, and I think it was going back to like 1992. Mm-hmm. So, you know, people don't understand that, but that's the thing. Like, oh, we're in a recession. We are in a recession. I don't think there's any question about that. Right. But like real estate still, especially in Atlanta, like it's going to be okay. So a lot of that depends on like, okay, well, how do you really define crash? I mean, that can be maybe even subjective, quite frankly. So I don't think the market's going to crash. I just feel like, you know, it's shifting. Right. Like it's like everything's kind of like almost like a moving target right now too. Like some neighborhoods are doing better than others, and some you know, so real estate is like hyper local.
I agree.
And we all have to understand that some zip codes are doing better than others. Some products are doing better than others. Like condos, high-rise condos, totally different from single-family homes. That's right. You know, so you just have to like, you got to like look at the local data and like, you know, kind of break down what you're looking at.
And I mean, there had to be a change. We could not keep this like,
no. It wasn't sustainable.
No, like it was a never again thing that will happen.
Correct. And I'm glad it stopped. I mean, it had to at some point.
It wasn't sustainable. And so it's just now it's just like, well, everyone's kind of in that like wait and see mode, I think, quite frankly, you know. But what's interesting is that, so I've been doing this for 21 years now, 20 years technically. It's April of 2002. But it's like, what's a normal market, you know? And like, if I'm looking at like my history in real estate, I'm going to go ahead and like say, like, let's just say like 2015 to 2019 was probably like a healthy normal.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, home values were appreciating like 10+% a year.
Which is still great.
You know, and it was kind of a normal market. It's like average time in the market was like around 30 days, you know, like you might have like one or two competing offers.
Yeah.
To me, in my mind, like that was relatively normal.
Right.
And it's just weird to gauge right now too, because like during the COVID boom, like that's my dub for it, the COVID boom, because it was.
It was.
Like that wasn't normal. I mean, none of that was normal.
Well, COVID is not normal.
Locking into a 30-year loan for 2.5% is not normal. Like that's probably never going to happen again in our lifetime.
Right.
So that was not normal. And like, here we are, it's like, what's normal? And the answer is, I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being honest.
It'll be a new normal.
Right.
It's, you know.
We're all kind of like waiting to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah. And two comments. And I think you, with his question, Andrew, it would be, I would say, look at two things. To your point, everything is hyper local. Like you can't look at national, you can't even look at state. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to look within the county. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's within the neighborhood,
Absolutely.
within the, the county. So you really have to look at that. I mean, Atlanta is in, you know, we're attracting talent from different states, from the north, right? Some of the Northeast, Jersey, New York. We see a ton of people coming into our state, even from out west. So we've got a lot going for us. So I think that helps with supply and demand. And also to timeline, you know, if somebody's thinking about buying, but they're worried about crash, you know, I tell people, if you're looking to buy a home for a year or two, don't do it. You know, you could get burnt. I mean, you never know.
Right.
But if you're looking at, you have to live somewhere. So if you're looking at a home for the long term, I wouldn't be as worried about it.
What's your threshold on that? Like 5+ years?
I mean,
That's usually what I say.
4 or 5 years, you know, or so. I mean,
plus, 4 or 5 plus,
or greater, right? I mean, I mean, typically a lot of people want to, you know, buy that home, buy the first home, stay in there 4 or 5 years,
or keep it as a rental property.
Yes.
Right, and don't sell your first home.
Right.
So,
yes, don't. I screwed up on that one.
Yeah, my associate Brendan up in Tennessee wrote a book.
Yeah.
Never Sell Your First Home by Brendan Donaldson.
I think I remember seeing you reading that. Yeah.
And I wish I kept my first home, but you know what people think is, I'll buy my first home, stay there for 3, 4, 5 years, sell it, roll the equity into the next one.
Keep it as a rental property
instead of selling it. Keep it as a rental. Get your next home with. You could still do low down payment for next home.
It's the best retirement plan you can even come up with. And that's,
I mean,
I kept my first home.
You invest in rentals, right?
Absolutely. And I started with my first home. I mean, I kept it, instead of, when I bought my first single family home, I just kept my condo and just kept a tenant there. And I had like $500 a month positive cash flow, which was awesome. You know, at the time it was great.
Exactly.
It's still great, but
who wouldn't take $500 a month in free cash right now?
Right.
Do you think all agents should consider that as a retirement plan?
Well, if a real estate agent is like really truly serious about this industry, then I feel like they should definitely get into the investment game. There aren't enough real estate agents who invest in real estate. It's like 85% of realtors don't invest in real estate.
And that's your business.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
I'm not selling my second condo though. I am renting that one out.
Yeah. See? Keep it.
But I wish the first one, I was like, dang, I could have been, that would have been really, really good.
Yeah, Brookhaven's like a freak of nature market still.
That's right.
But wasn't in my cards at the time. So, but it is now. So I'm like, you would have to
keep it.
Yeah. There would have to be a very high number on that paper for me to sell my condo.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, thanks, Andrew, for your question. We have a question from my wife, actually, Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
Hey, Victoria. Thanks for the question.
What advice would you give? This is like one of Michael's like hot topics. What advice would you give to first-time home buyers now that interest rates are going a little higher?
So,
real quick, I think Allan touched on this in a story earlier, how even though rates are going higher, like buying demand is going down a little bit. So there's still a lot of leverage that you have as a buyer or selling demand. So there's like unique ways, like working with a good lender or a good agent that you can save some money. That's not necessarily
the buy down.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, well, I was going to mention
credit
that.
towards closing costs. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can negotiate now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing a realtor training on Thursday about a 2-1 buy down program, which allows the buyer to get in. As long as it's paid by the seller, it's a sales concession. So let's say rates are at hypothetically 7%. The first year, it's 2% lower. So their first year mortgage is at 5%. And on a $350,000 home, that might be, $500 less a month. Year two, it's at 6%. That might be, $250 less per month. And then year 3 through 30, it's at that market rate, whatever it is, 7% or 6.5%. The benefit of the 2-1 buy down is it makes it more affordable the first couple of years, right? Especially for somebody that's anticipating a raise or other income coming into the household. The good news is if they refinance, because somebody says, well, what if they refinance? That money's gone. It's not gone. So that money is set aside in escrow. We're making that difference in that mortgage payment for the buyer. Mm-hmm. If they refinance, whatever's left in that account gets applied to their payoff as a reduction. So they never lose it. So there's no lose in it versus like a one-time buy down.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you can use, let's just say a seller agrees to pay $20,000 towards closing costs.
Right.
You can use a chunk of that to apply towards the buy down.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like.
I'm taking your class on Thursday.
10:30.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
because you can actually do that now. Like you can actually negotiate closing costs. We can do that before.
That's the key, and you could not have done that 6 months ago, 4 months ago. So I think for first time home buyers, again, don't worry about the number, and let's look at what does that payment look like. For that first time home buyer, what's the payment? What does your budget look like? Do you have a budget? We look at that for our buyers also. It's like, here's your mortgage payment, here's your income. But what other things do you have to pay for? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other expenses that are not interest bearing. So we'll look at that with customers and say, okay, do we have enough for these items, right? That's something that you're not going to get if you push a button on the internet and get a pre-approval spit out with no conversation. Mm-hmm. So I think first time home buyers, huge is that initial conversation. We'll spend 15 minutes on the phone, then a follow-up call, whether it's Zoom or in person, to really then look at their situation, look at their cash, their budget, their cash flow. Can they afford this? And then, again, we give them the information. They make the decision. Is it time or is it not time? Right? That's not my call. That's their call.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome answer. Good job. So thank you, Victoria, my lovely wife, for commenting.
That's teed up. Thank you, Victoria. I'll pay you later for that.
All right. We have 2 more questions. So this one is from Ryan S. How should I approach buying a home if I feel underprepared monetarily?
Same kind of thing we've been talking about. Yeah, talk to a lender, talk to someone and figure out what does that look like for you, because every person's finances are very different. And
get a game plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Personalized. Us advisors.
I agree.
But
Right.
you're not going to really have like a thorough game plan probably until you talk to Michael or a lender. I mean, so that's the starting point.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah, we don't charge for it. And I think underprepared is everybody's got a different definition of that. Like I've talked to a buyer before where they feel they can't afford it. They feel like they're biting off way more than they can chew. And I look at their finances. I'm like, 800 credit scores, 50 grand in the bank. Their debt to income ratio is super low. I'm thinking, you're in an amazing position.
Right.
And then I'll talk to another buyer.
Vice versa.
Who thinks that they're ready to roll. And I look at it, I'm like, hold on a second.
Champagne taste beer budget.
That's it. So I think
you don't learn about it until you are educated from a lender.
Exactly.
Like no one teaches you this in school.
Right. You don't learn this in high school.
Agreed.
Or college, typically.
You don't learn anything about managing finances.
No.
Right. It's the biggest mistake I think high
dad
schools
gave
make
me
is
a
they don't have a
budget.
personal finance course.
Agreed, 100%.
Really? Like that's insane.
Yep.
Trying to like learn how to do a budget, I was like, what does this mean?
Yeah, what is a budget? Like, I
the
think
old
90%
school
of
spreadsheet.
adult households don't have budgets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was teaching Eleanor what an asset was compared to a liability. So now I ask her every
She's
day.
5?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm trying to
young.
introduce these words to her just so
Yeah.
she feels familiar with it, when it comes to that
That's
time.
awesome.
Alex is a good dad.
Absolutely.
I've seen him in action.
Good dad.
Thanks,
Good
man.
kids.
I think that was the last question.
Cool.
Actually, did we have one more? I think we may have had one more. Let me just get to that. All right, so this one is from our buddy Thomas Rosemond. Is there a difference in the application process for a investment property versus a second home?
Good question.
So from a lending perspective, the application process is the same. However, the requirements for qualifying is going to be different. So typically on a second home, you can get in for 10% down. Investment property, bare minimum 15%. The loan term is going to get better at 20% and 25% for an investment property. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac put the price hit, a pretty sizable price penalty on second homes almost a year ago. So the pricing on a loan for a second home and investment property is pretty comparable nowadays. Less cash required for a second home.
And also, if you're moving in, if you want to buy a second home and you want to have an investment property, maybe use that first home as an investment property, move into the second home.
Correct, because if you vacate the first home, turn it into a rental, your next purchase you can do as a primary residence, which you're going to get the
Different
most
interest
attractive
rates,
rates. You can still do low down payment,
Right.
and get the better deal on the mortgage.
This is
That's
why
what
it's
I do.
this is why it's good to
There
talk
you
to
go.
Michael. He knows
Yeah.
all the loopholes.
Well, hey, that's just working the system, right?
Buy a
Never
house,
sell
live
the
in it.
first home.
Buy a house, live in it, move.
That's
keep
what
building.
like Brendan, my associate up in Tennessee, he's 15, 16 homes up there. A lot of those were buy, live in it for a while, move, rent that one out, and just repeat. Do it over and over and over. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you live in that primary residence for, roughly a year plus.
There was a guy named John Adams who had his own radio show here in Atlanta. Do you remember that name?
I do remember that.
He was kind of like a locally famous,
He was on one of the AM stations.
Yeah, it was
maybe?
before the podcast, thing. But
Yeah.
his whole, I used to listen to him before I even got into real estate, but he was always like buy and hold. And and that was always my mindset. It's like, I wanted to have 10 properties and just have them just residual income. And that was one of the things after the crash is because during the market crash, I barely had any residual income. I think I had one investment property, maybe 2 at the time, but I was kind of breaking even.
Right.
But that whole period made me realize I was I never want to go through that again where I don't have any kind of residual income.
Right.
And that's rental properties are the way to go, especially here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Real
There's
estate's a
so
long
many
game.
people moving into the city right now. It's insane.
Right.
It's the number one place to live.
That's right. That's right. It
Money
is.
Magazine.
It is the number one place to
Yeah.
live. And think about, ask somebody that's looked for a rental property in the last 3 months. It's not easy.
No.
It's so hard to find, so limited supply out there.
Right.
So it's not easy.
I do help with rentals as well.
You can't. Yes, right. You do. And then a year
Rent
later,
and then
they
buy later.
turn into your next
Exactly.
clients. That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah. Awesome.
I always say that to new agents, definitely work with tenants. I mean, especially now more than ever,
right?
Because like they're gonna buy as long as you like keep the relationship going and keep in touch. Like they'll buy from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's okay not to be ready to purchase. If you're not ready, you're not ready. You're gonna you have to live somewhere. So
exactly.
One of my best clients to this day is I got them into a townhome at Cobblestone at Brookhaven. Like they called. We put my wife's home on the market for renting there like 3 years ago, and like they were like driving down here from Charleston. They're like, "Can we see it?" I met with them. We ended up getting multiple applications, so we got that lease, but I rented them something else in there. And like they ended up buying a gorgeous home for me this past year. And like they've referred me like 3 clients this year.
So you never know.
And that was just from a tenant. That was a tenant.
Right.
Because you're so great. They send you everyone.
Oh.
I'm so envious of Allan because his clients are like a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are like your friends and your sphere and your community of people. So it's a testament to, taking care of your customers and genuinely caring about them, right? And you're the same way, Carrie. You're starting off the same way. Just you care about your customers, Fahad. And, they love you. I mean, just love you. So, I mean, it's great to see it.
And they love Dolly.
They love Dolly too. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. But with real estate in general, just think about it this way: if you could turn back time 40 years and look at homes, at what they were selling for 40 years ago, and look at what they're selling for now, it's just amazing. And then if you look at the charts of the home prices over those 30 or 40 years, yes, it's choppy, right? There's ups, there's downs, just like the stock market, right? There's ups, there's downs. Over time, it makes sense
when you zoom out.
Yes.
It's the graph.
Look at the 5 years. Don't look at the year.
That's right.
Look at the 5 years.
Historical. Yeah. I mean, you just have to have a longer term perspective. But if somebody's looking to buy, I got to get it out in a year or flips.
Yeah.
That's where it's more risky.
You want to make $50,000 in a year. This is
not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Generally speaking, I mean, it might happen. I mean, you got to be like a sharpshooter with a flip,
Sure.
But generally speaking, this sounds like a sales pitch, but it's the truth. Real estate is the best investment. I mean, now, especially now more than ever, like you look at like what's happening with crypto. And I mean, oh my, geez,
where crypto was
it's been
6 months
freaking
ago,
roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
I remember like my first month after buying Ethereum, I was like having a heart attack every day.
Right.
Now I just don't care.
Oh, you gave in.
You have a strong stomach.
I buy and hold. I'm not going to sell it until I decide.
You don't need the money, right? Just sit tight.
Hopefully it's up when I retire.
Exactly. That's it. Diversification, right? And some of those investments, if you can afford to lose the money, you put it out there, and if you lose it, you lose it, and if it goes up 100-fold, and it does.
True.
Yeah. Cool.
What else? We talk about like magic mushrooms or something? They just legalize that.
Yeah, that's actually the next topic. Yeah, I'll take it away.
Tell me more.
It's legal now in Colorado.
That's true.
I'm a big proponent of psychedelics.
You just have to You just have to travel to Colorado to get them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could cut that out if you want to. You can edit that out. But
Everyone starts.
It's there.
Anyway, that's there. I said it.
Yeah, it's all right.
I know they're doing some lab testing on DMT now that is not being, like the information is not being logged under like how the medicine affects you, but like what you actually experience. Yeah. So, and people are like writing their experiences down and they're noting those. And I think like right now, like the rate of percentages is almost like 80 to 90% of them, everyone experiencing almost the exact same things.
Yeah. DMT, MDMA, psilocybin, even LSD. I mean, these are all being used to treat like serious disorders. Like it's happening right now. And so actually,
and they have been.
We talked about the stock market. I've invested in the
years.
stock. I mean, because I invest in what I believe in, like truly. So I bought this company called Compass Pathways. They're in FDA approved stage 2 right now.
Oh, wow.
But they're working with these psychiatrists and like they're actually administering these drugs, and it's in a controlled setting.
Right.
You listen to like classical music, like, art, bring your journal. And like, I mean, the cure rate is much higher than like the Western pharmaceuticals.
I believe it.
So I do believe like 5 to 10 years, like this is going to be like an actual thing.
Wow.
It's happening.
It is.
I mean, as we
See
speak.
you guys back here in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We'll
do another one
again.
of these. Bring the classical music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Well, that's cool.
Is that it on magic mushrooms?
I guess so.
We had to have something to spice it up a little bit, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, is there anything else that you guys want to touch on? Like anything that's important? I know you have a class this Thursday. Do you want to plug that? Or?
Yep. Class this Thursday mainly for realtors, just educating on the 2-1 buy down. There's a lot of questions out there about how does it work, who funds it, what if somebody refinances? And there's just a lot of questions around it. So we're going to have a Zoom meeting and sort of rehash all of that and just do some education. So we do a lot of realtor education and feel like it's important to just explain the products so people know what they are. Yeah.
Awesome. Carrie, Allan, anything going on in your lives that you'd like to share, plug, or talk about, or?
Not much going on.
And even if it's, holidays are coming up and I don't know, anything.
I will be here for all the holidays. So if you need a realtor over that time, give me a call. I will be here.
All right.
I am going to Mexico for my birthday though. So.
Oh, nice.
When's your birthday?
December 27th.
Oh, nice.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Happy early birthday. That'll be a nice birthday present.
Yeah.
Solo or with friends?
With friends.
Okay.
Girls
cool.
trip.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Very nice.
What's the temperature like in Mexico in December?
Always warm.
It's always warm.
It's got to be in the
75,
80s.
80.
Right?
Yeah.
80.
So perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be a great time.
Which part of Mexico?
Tulum and
that's where we went
Playa
last
del
year.
Carmen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're renting a
Playa.
yacht.
Oh, are you really? Beautiful.
Nice.
Nice.
You girls do it right.
We do.
Don't mess
We
around.
have
You're renting
fun.
it.
Did you just say you're renting a yacht?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Nice.
We have fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good
But
for you.
everything is cheaper in Mexico. So
Everything is cheaper.
Yeah.
don't try and rent a yacht. I could never rent a yacht here.
Yeah. Don't go into Miami and rent a yacht, but Mexico, all good.
Yeah.
Alan, what do you got going on for the holidays?
We're leaving Thursday, man. Going down to Ponte Vedra to visit.
This week? Next
Yeah,
week?
this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, wow,
visit
nice.
my sister.
Very cool.
Our house is a construction site right now.
That's right. You're doing the kitchen.
We're really just trying to kind of get out.
Get out of town.
Have a little. Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly. So it's a little stressful living in a construction site.
Cool.
Making coffee in your bedroom and everything. It's a little weird. It's all a little weird, but
Not being just able to
bedside
go to the
service.
sink and just rinse your hands. It's
I made my banana peanut butter smoothie in my bedroom in our master bathroom.
How'd that go?
Before I came over here?
Oh.
It was interesting. It was really a little
It's
weird.
like chocolate,
Humbling
peanut butter everywhere. That's funny.
Is there
But no, everything's good. I'm in a super content
Good.
place right now. Stella and Anna are both doing great. And
Awesome.
Grateful.
Good.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the year. Take a break because I do think things are going to pick up.
I agree.
My projection, again, just my projection. I think rates are going to settle down.
Yeah.
I think we've hit. Again, I don't have the crystal ball. My guess. I think we've hit peak inflation.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see them settle next year. So I think it's going to be a good
Prices
year.
are normalizing.
As we speak.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're coming down.
Exactly. Yeah. We had a
Inflation, the data was just released that inflation's coming down.
The first report we've had this year that I think showed that, inflation is, starting to slow a little bit. I think that's what we were waiting for.
Biggest rate drop in 2 years. Did I
Great.
see that? Is that correct?
Thursday was a good day. Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, we'll see how it goes. That's only one report. Doesn't make a trend, but it's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie, where can we find you?
On Instagram at Closing with Carrie. All my info's there, cell phone, email, link to my website, all in one place. Lots of photos of Dolly.
That's
Go
what
check out
they're
Dolly.
coming for.
Dolly's are the hook.
At Closing with Carrie.
Cool. Allan, where can we find you?
I'm at Minter Atlanta. Minter.
On Instagram, and you can also search him for Dorsey Alston at Allan Minter.
Yeah.
Michael, where can we find you, buddy?
Be like at the bottom of the screen. Click here.
That's right. You can find me at Anthony Lending Team on Instagram, and I think, reach out.
Nice. All right, cool. It was awesome having you guys. Michael, you want to just kind of do our little outro and say thanks?
Yeah, awesome. Carrie, thank you so much for
Thank
coming in.
you. I had so much fun.
Absolutely. We'll do it again. And Allan, as always, great to have you. And we'll come back soon. Have an awesome end to 2022, and we're out.
All right.